Hello everyone and welcome to the Spiritual Citizen by Rachna. My today's guest is Ms. Vineeta Jerath. She is as multifaceted as a diamond. Vineeta is a co-founder of lifestyle magazine SUBURB. She is the chairperson of Women Empowerment Committee of Federation of Indian Industry. She is involved with many NGOs. Vineeta has a spiritual bent to her life. She is a Reiki channel and a certified NLP and EFT practitioner. She reminds me of this lovely poem by Maya Angelou, Phenomenal Women. So let's meet a phenomenal woman, Vineeta Jerath. Welcome, Vineeta, and thank you so much for taking out your time for this domestic violence awareness campaign. To be very frank, we need voices which are so powerful the way yours is. And Vineeta, I was just going through a little statistics before, coming to have and speak with you. And the statistics very clearly show that in the last 20 years, the percentage of domestic violence incidences or cruelty of any kind to a woman have increased and shot massively by 53%. And that's like really, really crazy. I mean, like it's something which I would consider as a matter of concern for especially people like you and me, when we want welfare for the women as much as we can. And what happens is, this is my personal experience, correct me if you think I'm wrong. If a woman decides to go on, the moment she starts seeing the red flag and she decides to go and lodge a complaint, then people around her, the society at large, they all go and tell her, oh, this too shall pass. This is just a moment. Don't worry too much about it. And when she is in her senior years or in her prime, and when she cannot really take the trauma too much, and at that point of time, when she go and file the complaint, she is again told by the society, why did you wait so long? If you have waited this long, why didn't you just finish off the rest of your life with the person who is committing abuse at you? So this kind of a dichotomy, and when eventually she go and lodge a complaint wherever she decides to do that, and Domestic Violence Act, as you also know, because you're dealing so much with it and already you're doing like massive amount of work in this field, and along with this, I think you're also handling the acid victim situation and many other aspects. I mean, like you are phenomenal, Vineeta. And then, when the women go to lodge the complaint, she goes with a lot of hope, and and suddenly she realized that she is being humiliated more the moment she go and lodge a complaint. The society at large humiliates her more, and then there is this massive waiting period for her to get her reliefs. So what I would like to know of you is, what are the reasons why do you think the implementation of any law, whether it is domestic violence or any other law which is pro woman, takes so long? Like it seems like an age that she gets her justice and her due rights. Please.
Thank you so much, Rachna, for having me over. And it's such a heartwarming, thought that you're talking about women rights and all. And I think your entire summarization of the problem and why everything, your question and the answers are within whatever summary that you've actually put just now is what I think. And you are so right. Last 20 years, there is so much of violence rate, domestic violence rate that has actually increased. But tell me one thing, when we are talking about stats, the stats are only of the reported case, right? And interestingly, there are about more than 70% of the women who go through domestic violence, but at the same time, sorry, you want me to?
I love the background music. Continue. We love jogs and presence ought to be felt.
So, the domestic violence, as it has, give me a second, sorry, Ratna. I wasn't expecting this.
You should have, because the moment mama is busy, they want attention.
I am so sorry. Should I begin it?
But I'm finding it so familiar. Please don't make him stop barking. I love the sound. It's just like music to my ears. Continue. We still function with them hanging around.
So, when we're talking about domestic violence, we're actually also talking about the reporting cases. The cases which are reported are barely 7 to 8% of actually what is happening, right? So you can imagine the amount of real domestic violence that would be, women would be going through. And when you just made a point that, in last 20 years, the rate of domestic violence, women have been suffering so much. So, do you really think that education, anything to do with the workforce, or how we have evolved in these 2 decades, has it really impacted the condition of women? Not much. Where you could consider it as in terms of the domestic violence. See, what has happened is I would actually want to go to the basic history of the mindset, the patriarchal mindset. See, the patriarchal mindset has been so imprinted in a girl when she's born in a household, that while she's being raised in the childhood, she has to take permission from the father, brother, and as we understand, a lot of times, though it doesn't happen in the urban households, but in the, lower middle class and all, if there is a financial crisis, it is the girl who has to either bear the brunt of, supporting the family, or even if she has to give up the education part of it, that she is the one who is doing and dealing with it. While she gets educated and everything, when she's moving ahead in her life, so we understand that the choice, if she really wants to pick up a life partner also, that doesn't come to her easily. We still have the case of uh, death, honorary deaths and all that. We have been seeing it in urban part. हम rural की तो बात ही नहीं
बात ही नहीं
करते.
करते. Correct.
So, despite the education, despite the evolution, what has happened in last 2 decades in our country, what is happening is the condition of women probably is not really improving to the core, but the mindset, because the patriarchal mindset has not changed. So unless that makes a shift, and women, my experience says is women themselves, they are the ones who demean the other women in so many dowry cases and domestic violence cases. What is happening? The mother-in-law, sister-in-law, the relatives, they are the ones, the women figures are the ones who are actually, doing all sorts of violations against the daughter-in-law who is coming to the household. And importantly, what I feel is that the reporting happens only when there is a physical abuse. That majorly is at that level when it reaches a criminal kind of a scenario where ab bardash nahi ho raha hai, so when I said it's a patriarchal mindset, you have to understand, at that time, mentally and emotionally, the woman is the way she is brought up, for her it is okay to let go of her choices. She is not, and it is accepted societal norm that is functioning while she's been, while she's growing up through her childhood. So that mental emotional abuse, she doesn't even realize that that is happening to her till about a certain period of time, when she becomes aware, more than aware, awareness hoti hai, but she is too scared. She's too scared of the what, how I have seen it in my meeting people and doing work, is one social taboo. Still, it's a big stigma, embarrassment, family pressure, financial issues, and also majorly for children. So they are too scared to let go the custody of children. They don't know what is happening, and if the other party is either more powerful in the financial terms, or in other powerful in terms of influencing the whole system, then she's too scared to even take that call. See, there have been cases where people have been, I know ladies have gone up to the, police station, but the complaint has not been registered. Why complaint has not been registered? It is still considered to be a family affair. आपस का मामला है सुलटा लीजिए. You know, why do you want to wash dirty linen in public? God, linen is barely a linen anymore. It is in tatters. It is, it's a matter of a life, for God's sake. See, the domestic violence, against protection, this case, the whole law actually was formed in 2005, and it was implemented in 2006. So the problem is not that we do not have the law enforced or things like that, but the way the systems are there, they are not in place, I think. And starting from their society background, that the stress, the baggage that a woman carries of being a woman in the society is far too heavy for her to take a call on what's happening to her in her life, because for her she's always been not the first citizen to herself. She's been trained like that. पहले भाई को खाना खिला दो, पहले पापा खा लें, फिर खाते हैं, तुम टेबल साफ कर दो, तुम बर्तन धो दो. Why? Tell me one thing. I always talk very honestly. It is not about boys, how it is about, mothers, how they are treating their sons. Until unless we, ingrain it in our children, what it is all about, how can these boys who are like, today as they are boys, tomorrow they will become husbands, spouses, and other relations they will get into. How will they understand that how the woman has to be treated? The lady of the house has to be treated well at home by the father. This is what the son is seeing. If the son is also seeing the mother in a debacle situation or something that she's not talking, is not healthy for the son. This is exactly what is going to be his ingrained. ये तो चलता है. I can do this with my colleagues. I can do it with my spouse or live-in partner or whatever the situation is. So, in short, what I'm trying to say is, you see, verbal emotional abuse is very late accepted by a woman, that she has to open her mouth, that she has to, put her best foot forward and come out of an abusive relationship.
विनीता, मैं आपसे इस मोमेंट पे ये पूछना चाहूंगी कि जस्ट अब 4-5 रेड फ्लैग्स बताइए उन लड़कियों को जो इस वक्त घरेलू हिंसा के थ्रू गुजर रही हैं और जो आगे भी बढ़ सकती है बात. ऐसे क्या रेड फ्लैग्स होते हैं जिसको देख करके उसे अलर्ट हो जाना चाहिए कि दिस मच नो?
See, I will actually want to start with the emotional abuse. The reason is physical abuse. देखो सबको दिखता है, and since we are doing a lot of work with women rights, we started a series of talking to them and raising awareness. So my experience again says that is, which of course you also mentioned, that last when the woman is in marriage for so many years, she doesn't speak because she has to adjust. She doesn't have the family backing, and by the time she gets all that in her, or maybe she gets that spirit to to voice out, then she is almost at the age of 45, 50. So the interesting part is, since I talk to a lot of lawyers and all, lot of women around that age from 50, 48 onwards to about 60, 65 and more, they are filing for divorce, which was so unheard of, you know. So it is all that, कभी तो कहते हैं ना घड़ा भरता है. It just because women are and have been taking it as a part and parcel of the growing up. the way they have been brought up in their childhood, they're completely okay with that because of the societal norms. Society ने इस abuse को इतना normal बना दिया है कि उनको लगता ही नहीं उनके साथ कुछ गलत हो रहा है. When there is a need for the support of the husband in terms of, where there is a little maybe there's, the two sides with the in-laws, or he keeps shut most of the time, or he sides on to the wrong side just to become a mother's good boy, you know so it is something that where she has to be alert that, you see, this man may not stand next to me. Maintenance, financial. Usually, men put their strings on her when it comes to financial, or they make them so financially dependent on them. It's time that they have to talk. So there is a complete pressure of for her to leave the job.
कि अगर एक वुमेन अर्निंग वुमेन है तो उस पर ये प्रेशर होता है कि सारी सैलरी जो उसकी है वो पूल कर दी जाए फैमिली फंड्स में, सो दैट अगेन एक अलग तरीके से उसके ऊपर पावर एक्सरसाइज होती है. आप बस मुझे थोड़ा सा अटेंशन दे दीजिए, दैट इज मोर देन इनफ. तो इतनी छोटी सी चीज में भी वुमेन जो होती हैं वो अपने आप को सेटिस्फाई कर लेती हैं, चाहे कुछ मिले चाहे ना मिले. पर जैसा कि आपने ये कहा कि पैट्रियार्कल सोसाइटी का माइंडसेट जब तक चेंज नहीं होगा तब तक इस दिशा में आगे बढ़ना थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट है, और कदम हमारे धीरे ही रहेंगे, फास्ट नहीं हो सकते. तो
the pattern has to change. When you're talking about the financial aspect of it, I will tell you the working women also, they are facing the same kind of violence. ऐसा नहीं है कि if they are actually working or something, then they are really empowered, things like that. I have known so many cases where, as you rightly said, the salary of a woman, she has no control of that. It goes into the common fund, and the moment you actually ask for it, it becomes so that's another big red flag. It's a very big red flag. So if I am earning, if I want to give, let me be, but do not snatch away my right the way I have to, spend. And if I'm working 5 or 6 days a week, I want certain time for myself, right? But again, I would actually come and join the dots to what you said just now, that women दे देती हैं ये सोच के that husband का थोड़ा attention मिले, you know, या husband का थोड़ा सा that coziness or the comfort comes within the family, or harmony जिसे हम बोलते हैं. But tell me one thing. Again, I've been coming back to the way we are raised, conditioning. Why do we want validation from others always? And that too, validation from people who possibly don't know you or will not give it to you because they think that if the moment they do it, they will lose control over you. So I had done a story on, Women's Day quite some time back, and I was actually, talking to a lot of corporate leaders and HR. So the stats which say that when women join the workforce, they're about 40% or more, these days. And by the time they reach the ladder, the senior ladder, the pyramid, they are barely 3% who are left. So kahan gaye wo? Who is actually doing all the compromise because they don't want to get transferred. They have been told that okay, we have to raise children, and raising children is your responsibility. So the women has to compromise on that. I'm telling you that I have actually learned my lessons through the stories and the people I have actually worked with and spoken to them. So when we talk about, we're talking about domestic violence right now, but I'm right now also wanting to say at the same time, there is a patriarchal leave, maternity leave जैसे होती है, वैसे, at the time there is a leave for the dads also, which is given. So some companies, they are technically giving and or they have an option for the men to take that leave or not, right? I was doing a story and I on a Father's Day, and I asked these dads. I said, "So do you actually take the leave and things like that?" I would have spoken to 7, 8 people, right? Only 2 of them said yes. I was very happy, bringing up my child, and seeing the initial growth, and I did avail that leave. The rest of them said that I was too insecure to do that. If I would have, my colleague would have actually gone a little, above during those 3 weeks or 2 weeks time that I would go. And I wasn't very comfortable. Eventually, माँ को ही संभालना है. That was the crux of it. This I am again talking about the corporate leaders. You know, uh, when we actually look at them, the haunters, we look at them from a different light, and we are talking about so education, literacy has role to play, but how much role to play is everybody's guess. And in our seminars, when we are having these days, and our next seminar is on 31st July, so there are women who come, and they come from high rises. High rises, again, very, very luxurious lives that they are leading. They are very
Tony society,
influential. Yeah,
gosh. Hmm.
yeah, absolutely. And lot of cases, have gone unreported of all kinds from that sector. But now these women, they have decided, or I mean, we meet them. So it has taken them, past this silver jubilee of their wedding anniversaries and all. So how many years? 25, 30 years of they've been in the marriage, and now they're saying, "Ab nahi ho payega." Some of the women have also known for years that the man is cheating on them, and they're okay about it. So it is just not man's fault if they're cheating about it, and so forth. Then again, I was talking to a women cop. I was discussing this domestic violence case, and she told me this. She says women do not want to give up the luxury of living in a life space that's where they are. उनसे गुच्ची बैग्स नहीं छूटते हैं. This is typically that Haryanvi cop, she told me. Domestic violence in India is like a pandemic, Rachna. Still, I would say, coming from the urban classes, this kind of a domestic violence, abusive relationship are in every third, fourth house. It's just that we don't realize it. Data which is not correct, it is delayed implementation. We have a system in place, but is that system actually in place? Is my question. It is extremely
So,
difficult for
Vineeta,
women.
what do you think marital rape is also one of the red flags as we were speaking earlier about it? Do you think that's also one of the, when it's when a woman have to do a physical thing with the man, when she's not up to it?
See, that's what when we started the conversation, when we were not, recording it. So I was telling you about this marital rape thing also,
Yes.
which is like so common in so many households. Come on. And I'm not a lawyer, but what I think that does not come under the criminal law. You cannot go
Not
and
yet.
file
Not
a
yet.
case
Yeah.
for the marital violence.
Not yet.
Something like this for a woman, imagine, it's such a fear. It is so demeaning to her. How can you do that? No means no, not only for an outsider, but for your husband also. And that lady
I
has been
absolutely
married
agree to that.
for 18 years.
I absolutely
This
attest
is
that, Vineeta. I mean, like, I couldn't agree more.
what possessiveness है ये प्यार नहीं है.
Mm-hmm.
This is your own insecurity. Women have to understand all these things. And I always tell these women, I said, you must have your own bank account. Please save. पहले तो इतनी जल्दी domestic violence की cases ही नहीं filed. If it is filed, there is, there's a protection officer which is given to the women, So the protection officer has his or her own protocol. उनको पता ही नहीं होता है कि क्या करना है. they are possibly not in touch directly with the cops. So cops, judiciary, how much are they in aligned? And then they are sent to shelter homes. So Rachna, when these guys, they try to come out and enter the office space of a woman, that's also a very big red flag. This is
Correct.
not acceptable. Or if she is not allowed to go on the office parties, then the man can go. You see, the men are absolutely fine going by, the parties and things like that. She is not. She is expected to be at home. So all these things. So the problem is, just of course, we have to raise an alert for the red flags. At the same time, we also have to understand that why women are so hesitant in coming out, because the entire system is in a way. They also, it's not a pre-decided thing that okay, this comes first, this comes second. So there are overlaps also. There are things which are, undefined. A lot of things. So, the interpretation happens at a different level with an individual as well. And I would actually want to wind up to say that domestic violence has been taken so much as a societal thing that despite that it is happening all around, women also do not realize that they are being abused or they are in an abusive relation because the way they have been brought up, the entire mindset it is like that. कि ऐसा ही होता है, and until unless that reaches to a level of no return, or they think that it's becoming a problem of like a everyday life and death. So until and becomes like that, she still keeps it undercover because of the fear of society, people, law, and of course financial pressure.
Vineeta, I just got mesmerized listening to you, and thank you so much. The kind of work you have done in the field of women empowerment have actually been on the field, not only on the dais. And that adds so much value to your opinion, because the way you made us understand today that, unless and until the patriarchal mindset is set, is kind of changed in a woman, and the person to change that is also a woman. The mother has to actually teach the son, and that's how I think that's how I feel the way you have expressed that. That's how we are going to move towards a healthier society where less and less women are going to face abuse on a day-to-day basis inside their homes. And thank you really very much from the bottom of my heart. And before I end it, I just want to inform you a little bit. Maybe, we'll be able to join hands and work someday together and bridge the gap between Delhi and Gurgaon. Pari for India is an organization which has been working from a very long time in support and help of rape victims. And its founder, Yogita Bayana, recently decided to launch the domestic violence wing. And I'm fortunate enough to be heading the domestic violence wing for them. And so this awareness series is related to that awareness campaign. And, it was like, why there is so little awareness, I said, Yogita, don't worry. We are going to shout on top of our lungs with all other women who are empowered till they hear it. So we are not going to stop nudging and telling till they hear it. So we are going to rest only when the people who need to hear it. And thank you once again for making me feel motivated. And I'm sure, our viewers are also going to feel extremely motivated. Thank you very much once again, Vineeta. It is such an honor.
Thank you so much, Anna. We look forward to working together. Thank
Most
you.
certainly.
SUBURB.
Most certainly.